the President of the United States.
All the President's Men follows Bob Woodward and Carl Bernstein, two small-name journalists for the Washington Post, as they cover a story about a burglary. A burglary at the National Democratic headquarters in Washington, D.C. The case initially seems pretty standard, but there are just a few odd ends.
Wood, security consultant with the CIA.
Sturgis, Frank A., salvage operator.
Holy shit.
After some pushing, the case is given to Woodstein. Woodward is a newer writer for the Washington Post. He fumbles and calls when he gets too nervous or excited.
Momento. Hey, you guys speak English? Or you guys speak Spanish?
And his work is a little amateur, which catches the eyes of Bernstein. Bernstein is more experienced and has a ton of important connections to Washington elites, but he hops between stories and has a strong attitude to superiors.
Harry, I know somebody on the staff over at Watergate. You want me to work with
Bernstein, why don't you finish one story before trying to get on another?
I finished.
The Virginia legislature story?
I finished it.
All right, give it to me.
I'm just polishing it.
The investigation is still new and rough, and in some ways so is the movie. The audio is often cluttered with constant sound of keyboards and conversations, and the camera never really fully captures Woodstein, being stuck in crowds or behind walls. Because of this, you always get to see the continual humdrum of Washington, D.C., full of its constant and overwhelming distractions. At one point, when conducting an interview, a literal plane flies overhead. Did you not have a take without a fucking plane? But if you focus on that for too long, you and Woodstein might miss the next lead. As they call people, they begin making weird excuses and major contradictions.
And I was just wondering if you can remember any books that a Howard Hunt checked out on Senator Kennedy?
Howard Hunt?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. I think I do remember.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Bernstein,
Yes, ma'am.
I was wrong.
I beg your pardon?
The truth is I don't have a card that says Mr. Hunt to any material. The truth is I don't know any Mr. Hunt.
And while this happens, the sounds of the office fade out. With the new lead, not only does the case become clearer, but so does the sound. They go check on the lead in the Library of Congress, and as they look through the physical records, the camera begins to pull out, revealing the infinitely large hall with Woodstein right at the edge. Where they are right now, they have no semblance of the true scope. Especially because the lead's dead,
Pull the cards.
and they don't got the right
Maybe
information.
they changed the names. There's been a card there and we missed it.
And
Hey,
with that,
wait a minute.
the ambience returns. They begin using unconventional methods, asking off-the-record sources, sneaking into lawyers' offices, even asking women who slept with important people connected to the case for information.
Don't you go with a guy that works for the committee to re-elect? Look, we need a list of the people that work there. Do you think that...
I can't do that.
Again, here, the background distracts from key clues, even in the most secluded areas. This scene specifically uses both audio and visual distraction. Woodward is following up on an important lead, but as he does so, a rally is being played in the background, distracting from the initial focus. And the shot itself actually consists of two shots spliced together, so that both Woodward and this background TV are in focus. As the scene continues, the information on the call becomes more and more important, but at the same time, the sounds of the rally become even more rowdier, and more people are beginning to crowd around the screen. This screams for the attention of the audience and Woodward, but you can't stop focusing on the call because Woodward is so close to another clue, and when he gets it, the rally is turned off. The crowd disperses, the audio begins to clear up, and the camera pans in on the shot with just Woodward in focus.
Mr. McGregor. Mr. Dahlberg. I'm sorry, thank you very much.
And the mystery becomes clear. Through these unconventional methods, they get a list of people who may know something about the case. The sound dims, the focus returns, though with the list as long as they have, the camera is always far away from them. Their scope is still so small, and as they begin to make contact, people are not talking. This time, noticeably afraid.
Please go away, okay? I mean, please leave before they see you.
However, that isn't evidence, and conclusions can't be drawn, so the lead's cold.
We're just doing something wrong.
They try again, and they end up finding someone who will share information. And so it continues. The audio and visuals are not there to just depict the story. They're there to reinforce it. If the case loses focus, the ambience returns. When the case becomes clearer, the audio is dead. But as the movie progresses, the frequency of the ambience becomes shorter, more sparse. Woodstein is making progress on unveiling this conspiracy. And what is this conspiracy? It's a conspiracy to destroy campaigns and silence reporters. A conspiracy that bugged and followed people.
False press leaks, fake letters. They canceled Democratic campaign rallies. They investigated Democratic private lives. They planted spies, stole documents, and on and on. Now, don't tell me you think this is all the work of little Don Secretti.
The FBI and Justice.
At this point in the case, even a needle drop would disturb the audience, let alone... I think it's always important to remember that the scandal that would simply be referred to as Watergate was not just the bugging of the actual Watergate National Democratic Headquarters. Watergate was a complete network of saboteurs and spies to ensure Nixon's re-election, one that had never been seen before in American history, one that included the involvement of hundreds of people all across DC and all across the country, hundreds of people who could be potentially watching and following Woodstein. I think it's also important to remember that Nixon ended up resigning.